Hi, movies recapped here. Today, I will make sense of an American sci-fi film called X, The Man with the X-Beam Eyes. Dr. James Xavier is a doctor and an aggressive specialist. He wishes to create something progressive in medication that will one day save many lives. In the initial scene, he is having his eyes looked at a partner Dr. Sam's facility. It has just been 3 months since the last exam which, appears to be peculiar to Sam. James answers that he is going to utilize a trial eye drop on himself, so he really wants to have his eyes looked at habitually. Despite the fact that James is a guaranteed proficient, with long stretches of involvement, Dr. Sam believes being a subject to your own trial is an ill-conceived notion. A natural eye can see up to a modest amount of the things that really exist on the planet. James is attempting to make an eye drop so individuals can see past what their eyes permit them to. With this new item, they will actually want to see the bright and X-beam frequencies and then some. The thought is ridiculous, however, aggressive to make it materialize. After the gathering, James goes to his lab and meets his dear companion and partner, Dr. Diane. She illuminates him that individuals who are subsidizing the lab are becoming fretful. They have burned through huge load of cash on James' trial and are currently forcing Dr. Diane for results. She is especially baffled since James hasn't enlightened her anything regarding his review. James consents to show her his disclosure and carries her to the lab. Subsequent to making sense of what the eye drop does, he utilizes it on a monkey. To check whether it truly worked, the creature is made to take a variety evaluation test. Despite the fact that he can't see the huge sheets according to his perspective, he makes the right conjecture. This demonstrates that he can really see through the huge sheets. Also, can tell which one comes after another. Dr. Diane is left staggered at the creature's insight, yet a couple of moments later, the monkey passes on from a heart failure. The demise is miserable. However, it doesn't detract from the way that the eye drop does precisely exact thing it was intended to do. James needs to involve the eye drop for clinical purposes, since that way, specialists can tell what's going on with a patient by simply checking them out. In any case, he frantically needs the financial backers' cash for additional exploration. Dr. Diane orchestrates a gathering among him and the financial backers. Couple of days after the fact, the specialist is so anxious to demonstrate his innovation's proficiency that he is prepared to utilize it on himself. He tells Dr. Sam about his arrangement, yet Sam is stringently against it. As per him, the trial does not merit putting his life in extreme danger. In any case, James some way or another figures out how to persuade Sam to assist in the application with handling. In the accompanying scene, Dr. Sam places the drop at him. At first, Jamie loses his view of vision and sees just varieties and examples. He portrays it as seeing more light than he has at any point found in his life. Then, at that point, he finds he can see through the heaps of paper on the table and read them without turning them over. The fact that the item works makes him energized. In any case, he actually can see through the outer layer of items. The specialist gets excessively invigorated and places 2 additional drops at him. He laments the choice right away as the second drop consumes more than the first. In the accompanying scene, Dr. Diane and Sam are in a gathering with the financial backers. James couldn't come since he is recuperating from the eye injury. The financial backers never again have faith in his work and choose to stop subsidizing the undertaking. Dr. Diane and Sam come to him to give him the news. James has gauzes over his eyes to assist him with the aggravation, yet it is as though they don't exist, since he can see plainly through them. After 7 days, he gets back to the emergency clinic. The nurture acquaints him with a young lady who has been determined to have stenosis. Yet, with his new capacity, James figures out the determination is off base and she really has a growth joined to her heart. He enlightens the young lady's essential specialist, however the man won't tune in, driven by pride. That evening, Dr. Diane takes him to a party. James doesn't actually appreciate such social occasions, however he attempts to mingle and hit the dance floor with a delightful young lady. Unexpectedly, his eyes tingle, and when he opens them once more, he can see through individuals' garments. James glances around in shock and sees Dr. Diane exposed. After hearing that she is uncovered in his view, Dr. Diane rapidly brings him home. The next day is the day of the young lady's medical procedure. James over and over demands the essential specialist to rethink his choice on the grounds that the determination is mistaken. At the point when he actually doesn't tune in, James goes to outrageous lengths and cuts the specialist's hand just before the activity begins. As a result of the injury, he can no more work on the young lady, and James assumes control over the strategy. He performs the right medical procedure too, eliminate the growth and recoveries the young lady's existence. They lay out a conclusion center where individuals can proceed. They go to the specialist to find. The other specialist blames him for misbehavior despite the fact that the medical procedure was fruitful. The following day, James goes to Sam for a standard eye checkup. Sam enlists that James can see bones, muscles, and nerves in individuals and is rapidly losing his capacity to see things as they would appear to ordinary natural eyes. Incidentally, he has been utilizing the eye drop ceaselessly since the last use. Sam urges him to stop right away, yet James is as well worried about his investigation to think often about his well-being. With the persistent utilization of the eye drop, before long he will actually want to see what no man has at any point found throughout the entire existence of people. Stressed over his companion's well-being, Sam strongly attempts to steady him. In the following battle, James unintentionally drives him over the window and kills him. He feels horrendous for what he did yet has no real way to change the past. Dr. Diane, who saw everything, doesn't need James to be accused of unintentional demise. Subsequently, she assists him with getting away from before the police show up. The extremely following day, news about the executioner specialist spreads in and out of town. He changes his name and appearance and starts functioning as an ability in an oddity show. He utilizes his capacity to figure the things within the watcher's pockets and procures cash consequently. James had felt that his disclosure would save a huge number of lives and is miserable about what it has come down to. The person who claims the oddity show, named Crane, perceives James' ability. He gives a valiant effort to figure out what his stunt is, yet is fruitless. At some point, a woman is harmed close to their set. James rapidly filters her for wounds and sees that she has a wrecked leg. He assists her the best he with canning before the paramedics show up. Seeing him handle what is happening, so all things considered, Crane registers he may be a specialist. He offers James an arrangement that will undoubtedly make them large chunk of change. He recommends out what precisely is the matter with their bodies. James prefers the thought, however, simply because that way he can involve his power for good. The following day, they return to the previous city and remain in a provincial loft. Prior to nodding off, James places the eye drops in his eyes once more. It has been a routine since he originally tried it with Dr. Sam. With this drop, he figures out how to see through the roof above him. James rapidly wears dark glasses so individuals will not get to see how the drops have treated his eyes. Just later, Crane brings their most memorable client, an old affluent woman who has been having serious well-being inconveniences of late. She is stressed it may be disease, yet just a gander at her lets James know that she is simply drained as a result of advanced age. He asks her not to stress on the grounds that the aggravation will disappear, assuming she takes a rest for a couple of days. Sometime thereafter, James sits alone in his room and records the advancement of the medication. He is intruded on by Crane, who urges him to come outside rapidly. James does as told and finds a horde of individuals sitting tight for him to investigate them and figure out their sicknesses. The old woman from yesterday has gotten the message out about him among the circle of her rich companions. James sees the patients and watches out for their concerns while Crane pockets a few bills over the course of the day. Their center develops more popular with time. At some point, Dr. Diane gets a clue about the center and races to meet the new wonder specialist, knowing precisely what its identity is. She sits before James, however he neglects to perceive her and can just see her muscles. At the point when Dr. Diane talks, the recollections of his previous life flood back to James. She uncovers that she had a few patients come in, knowing precisely exact thing was the matter with them. In the end, she fit together the puzzle pieces and looked into his return. Without precedent for months, the specialist has somebody to discuss his thoughts with. He uncovers that around evening time, he can't rest since he sees through his own eyelids. The drops have transformed into a revile that flipped his life, yet he can't quit utilizing it as of now. Dr. Diane is stressed over his well-being and about the police finding him as a result of his prominence. She asks him to come someplace safe, however Crane disagrees. Thus, they go to Vegas and end up in a club. James' capacity is a gift when he gets to play poker. Before the night's over, he has accumulated sufficient cash to assist him with enduring a month. However, at that point, the club's director and a police officer approach him, blaming him for cheating since no one can win that many rounds in a solitary evening. As James attempts to account for himself, a police officer pulls his glasses away to uncover that his eyes have changed variety. The sight overwhelms him briefly, yet he before long perceives James as the insane specialist who pursued away, killing his companion. The reinforcement is called to capture him, yet James moves in a vehicle and takes off before he has gotten They follow him behind in a chopper and, while attempting to take off from it, he crashes. Luckily for the specialist, he endures the accident, also, emerges from the vehicle safe. In the wake of strolling for a couple of moments, he winds up at an open church, where individuals are occupied with singing strict tunes. At this point, James' eyes have turned totally back. The dad guarantees him that God will save him, however James realizes he is as well, far gone to be saved. He takes a gander at the sky and can see God as of now. Two cops show up with Dr. Diane, however don't capture him. Suffocating in lament of what he has done, James checks both of his eyes. The film closes as he goes to the camera, furthermore, uncovers that his eyes are no more. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.